Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today's video, we're going to have a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, update those price charts and the news, and figure out whether this is a good time to be buying the dip, dollar cost averaging into our position. It's been a long time for Bitcoin to continue going up, and everyone is wondering, is it too late? Should I be buying now? So we're going to try to answer that question in today's video. So if you find some value from the video, be sure to hit the like button down below. Let's get the video to 2,000 likes. Also hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. If you're returning to the channel, thank you very much for joining us again. Hit the bell notification icon if you haven't already. All right, let's dive across into the first piece. Taking a look at Google Trend Words, Bitcoin is on the rise again. We saw the top in the week of the 3rd to the 9th of January, and it looks like we're heading for that top again. So let's see whether we can get there, or if we just fall short, that's going to show up in the price chart as well. So this is the past 12 months term Bitcoin. Now let's add in Ethereum and just compare the two and see how Ethereum is going overall. Well, the search volume is still much higher for Bitcoin, but Ethereum is still traveling at its highs as well. So the previous high here was around 18, and it's sitting at around 16 now. So the last thing we want to do, remove Bitcoin and just have a look at it from Ethereum's point of view. There we have it. So yeah, Ethereum is still just trending at its all-time highs. We're getting close to it. Next thing I want to have a look at is the coin market cap. 1.5 trillion. We've moved up again. It's been a solid morning, half a day's trading as well. 10% on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Binance is up. Cardano is dropping, which we have talked about on the channel. You see the last few videos. Got an extra few down likes for selling some Cardano at these peaks. Who knows? Look, maybe it doubles from here or triples, but if you got in early, personally, not financial advice, I like to take profits so that I have some more funds to reinvest later. And I did see a lot of your comments mentioning a similar thing. You realize now that, look, it's probably not a bad idea to take some profits because we will see some dips at some point. And look, if the coins go up further, they go up further. It's just the game. This is the game that we play. I'm going to have a look at a few of these cryptocurrencies in another video coming up soon. We have looked at IOTA recently. We have looked at Tezos. So I know you guys want a little bit of an update there. And YFI is a big one that I've been looking at for quite a while and been investing in. So I'll get into those in another video. But for today, I just want to go through Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Bitcoin's chart. I'm going to do something a bit different and just look at the chart first and then hit the news up. So the chart, we look at Fibonacci levels and the retracements. 50%, yes, it's not a Fibonacci number, but markets hit 50% time and time and time again. Check this out. We're just using the tool up on the side. This is TradingView. There is a link in the description for this if you guys are new to it and you want to have some charting software. Fib retracement. Let's pick one of these lows here. So that's a major low. You can see it on the chart. Pick the major high. Guess what? Bitcoin did a 50% before taking off again. If you can't see that, you want me to make it a little bit cleaner, there's another line there. Throw it on log. This is my log resistance that we are now tracking on the channel. This log resistance happened on the 2017 bull market, and as Bitcoin broke through the log resistance, that's when it went to its extreme parabolic stage and took off to that $20,000 top. We aren't there yet. I'll have to readjust this as the market continues. That's just part and parcel of using this log chart. But so far, this looks like it's a pretty good log resistance. And look, we hit that peak. Look, if I had it tied to this point, we were just short of it. But I'm going to use this peak now because this one's a little bit closer to the money. So that's what I want to do, closer to the market. So we are, we're playing with closer prices. Now, this is the 50% right here. The market literally touched on it and we were watching this little double bottom off that and then the first swing out of the bottom. Now, if you're unfamiliar with swing charting, you can check out the Investor Accelerator membership. There's a link to that in the description down below. A lot of new people joining, which is fantastic. Thank you guys. Say hello over there in the Facebook group. And from this point, like we've seen already, 50%. I'm going to use this major low to this major high, touched on 50%. This doesn't always work, but the probabilities of a market hitting 50% and then moving away from that 50% mark is pretty high. The next number below this, if we break down from this low, is around the $40,000 level, which is the 61% drop and that's 38 on the chart here on this Fibonacci extension tool. This is fantastic because it lines up with the previous high. Nice price cluster is always a great target to look for. The other thing we have here is that we've got a 2-day swing up now. So the chart has turned up almost. There's the first swing. Here's the next. And we've got 2 days up. So who knows what happens from here? Maybe we get 2 days down, another 2 days up. At this point, this would turn the chart up because we've got a higher swing top and a higher swing low. So ideally, maybe we see something like that, and then we start to see the market move up again. That is a confirming signal that we've got an uptrend on a 2-day chart. So that's looking pretty good if that was to happen. So that's what I'm looking for. Essentially, I'm just trying to play out some scenarios to get a feel for what may come in this market. So removing all these lines, Bitcoin is looking pretty strong. If we don't get that, like I said, then there's that level there, which is still pretty strong for me, but I probably don't want to see it go that low at this stage. If we just start to continue to accumulate here, or we start to get some stepping stones out of here, that would be nice too. That's the scenarios that I still like for a Bitcoin bull. Now, the question that we're trying to answer here, is this a good time to buy? Personally, always not financial advice, I love this sort of area because we've had a downtrend, we've bounced off a 50% level, which is a very, very strong position. Not looking at all of this news that says tons of people are buying. The chart tells us the facts and tells us the news beforehand. It's the old saying, you show me a chart and I'll tell you the news. So the chart will tell us beforehand, and we had a nice strong bounce at 50%. If we go for another dip, I reckon there'd just be some sort of FUD out there, which we even have some news coming up as well. There'll just be probably some FUD, and we'll get a nice little dip into it. Maybe we take out that low again and quickly reverse out of that area. This area, I would love to see it go on for about the same length that we saw this. And this was, let's get a measure, top to the bottom, 14 days. To the next low is 19 days, and until it broke the top again was 31 days. So it's got 2 weeks down, call it 3 weeks down, something like that would be a good sign for this current correction on Bitcoin, which gives a reasonable amount of time to be dollar cost averaging at this point. So we're never going to get the exact bottom. That 43,000 level was a very good bottom. We're up at around 49 at the moment, so not too bad. Better than buying in at 58. So even if this market did drop down, we stand to save about 18 to call it 20% for a nice round number, somewhere around there. That's my belief of how far Bitcoin could probably go down. But if it doesn't get there, then these levels are all pretty good. We're all within a pretty reasonable measured move from the low here at around 13%. So if you're throwing in, look, for round numbers, $1,000 every week. Who has that? I don't know. But for round numbers, you're throwing in $1,000 here, and all of a sudden the market ends up back at this low. You've only lost $130 on that 1,000. Now, rather than worry about try to get in at this low next time, I like the strategy of dollar cost averaging in after a correction, because a correction is like a reset. So I like to start from the ground and build up. I don't like to start from the top and continue to increase my position at a top, even though this is pretty close to that top there. Here we go, take it off log. So this is a correction, it's a reset. Personally, like I always say, I like this time as a dollar cost averaging area. So for me, good idea. Ethereum, we'll take a quick look at the dollar chart before we get into some news. Ethereum, you can see, is very similar. And what do you know? 50% again. This is all you need, a little Fibonacci extension. No, this is a fib retracement tool. The trend-based fib extension is something else that we use as well. Now from here, 50%, nice solid hit. Previous resistance becomes support. Even if we get another move down, I can't see it going too much further. I don't think we'll see another Ethereum under $1,000 from here. So overall, I like this as another dollar cost averaging in position for Ethereum. Looking at Ethereum Bitcoin, now we are at the 38%. So we've had a 61% drop of this range. Great area as well. It's a good Fibonacci level. We have been trending up for about 2 years now. Another good sign. This is the downside to these is what we don't want to see is a breakdown of this swing low here. So the market put in a swing low at around 0.02954, something like that. So if we started to get a breakdown of that low, that probably means that this is failing and ETH Bitcoin is going to go lower. I don't think many people believe that it will, and I think this could be a good buy-in level at the 3% mark of a Bitcoin, and we could see the prices continue up from here. So let's span it back out to a weekly chart so we can look at a macro view, take off the fib extension and use, that's the retracement, let's use the fib extension, and we use it from the low to the high to the low. Our targets would then be up at around 533, so 0.0533, which works out very well with previous support which broke down. So that is just numbers working out beautifully again. This is just maths, fantastic maths. All right, so I can't get any clearer on that. It's just all numbers in nature working out very, very well. Look at that, 100% of this range here up. I probably think we'll even pass through that and probably get to that 6% level to extend this range. Ethereum, personally, I like it as another good point. You guys do your own research, but my technical analysis is telling me this is a good time to be buying. ETH, Bitcoin, some of the other altcoins may be a little bit different, which is why I want to do another video on those, because they've peaked and gone really hard and they've had bigger retracements than I would like to see. With that aside, let's have a look at some of the news I have here. Now I've got this piece, it's a pretty funny piece, I think. Crypto crime siphoned off nearly 10.5 billion in 2020. This is kind of the FUD stuff. CoinDesk, I don't believe, is trying to promote any FUD, but it's always the government or other authorities trying to put some FUD out there. So we look at crypto crime breakdown, terrorism, nothing. Ransomware, nothing. Blackmail, nothing. Terrorism, it's always, whenever you hear cryptocurrency and what it's used for, it could be used for terrorism. Basically call it nothing. Darknet market, drugs trade. Okay, cash is used a hell of a lot for drugs. Hacks. All right, well, it's internet money. That's probably a smart thing to do, try and hack someone and take crypto. Sanctions, scams, 67.8%. The majority of crypto crimes is scams. And if you haven't noticed, there is a ton of scams on these YouTube comments. So you've got people with my face, my name, trying to give you WhatsApp numbers, Telegram numbers, email addresses. They're all scams. They're all scams. Then you have the other scams down there with other comments saying, oh, this is a great channel. I found a hacker online and he's given me a lot of profits from XYZ. Go to Instagram. Those are all scams as well. Then you have the other scams, pretty much very similar, where they're just random faces with different comments. So I'm going to leave that one there. Just be aware of that. That could save you a lot of money if you're aware, because like we saw, a lot of people are getting scammed, a hell of a lot more than terrorism. So some of the good news, Michael Saylor, MicroStrategies, just keeps buying. Michael Saylor is dollar cost averaging in 15 million, average price of $45,700 BTC. So 15 million is not much on his other 2, 3, 4 billion that he has already, but still, that's his dollar cost averaging method, 15 million. Next piece, Max Kaiser, talking about a $300 trillion Bitcoin, thinks it can get to that stage. I doubt it's going to get there in this cycle. I don't think he believes it's going to get there in this cycle either. We're going to go in ebbs and flows until we get there. 300, 100, I don't care. If we get to 100 trillion, that's going to be amazing. 100x from this point. If it's 10 years, 20 years from now, that's still great. You've thrown, you get to 10 grand in that period, early on, 10 grand, you get 100x in 20 years, making up a number, there's $1 million. All right, so you can't really complain at that if you're only throwing in 10 grand. It's something that's pretty stable in the cryptocurrency space, and there's a lot of institutions buying as well. So there's just some numbers thrown around there. I think it just makes for a great headline, 300x. Of course, you might see that on the title of this video. The Elon effect, companies now racing for a piece of the Bitcoin pie. So like we just saw, I don't think we're going to get to 300x on Bitcoin just yet, but if the whole space grows, then we're just going to see more and more money coming in. The piece I like out of this is, visually you can think of the cycle as a normal distribution that begins with innovators followed by early adopters. early majority, finally reaching last two groups, late majority and laggards. And if you've been following the channel for some time, you know we've looked at this before, and it's a technology adoption life cycle. So this is it over here. Innovators 2.5%, early adopters 13.5%. In that video, I talked about it with Ethereum, and we're potentially in the early majority. Looking at the numbers, I am still bouncing between the two, early adopters or early majority. So early adopters is a 13.5%, early majority is a 34%. I think we're in the early adopters. Now, I don't want to get my head too big and just think, wow, we've got so much room to grow, because I want to just keep everything in check so I can make big gains without thinking I'm going to get massive gains. And if the massive gains come, that's great. But looking at the market cap, say from last time, 2017, we only got to about an $800 billion market cap. That is minuscule compared to everything else out there. And currently we see a lot of billion-dollar purchases in Bitcoin, which leads me to believe that maybe we are still only in the early adopters, and all of these purchases are just early adopter purchases. Tesla and MicroStrategies, Twitter, Square, they're all early adopters. They're not the early majority yet. So maybe we see early majority in the next stage of the bull market or the next bull market. Here we go again, $1 million investments. Motley Fool, $5 million investment. Just brought this one up because it was in this article. It was part of the whole article here with Twitter and Motley Fool. MicroStrategies raised another $1 billion, which we'll have a look at in a sec. Kathy Wood says Janet Yellen doesn't understand cryptocurrency. So this is a lot of the FUD. We're just clearing out the FUD so we can move on. It's nonsense. There was a good piece on ARK Invest. So if you follow ARK Invest on YouTube, or if you don't, I suggest following them. Kathy does, I believe it's a weekly update. I think maybe she did 2 this week. Check that out in detail. I watch it on 1.5 speed. It's like 40 minutes long. She talks about everything in the economy. So if you want to be a well-rounded 360-degree investor and understanding everything that's going on out there, then I suggest looking at these sorts of people who are getting things right at the moment, especially in the technology space. So Janet Yellen doesn't know what the hell she's talking about, but she says it in a more diplomatic way than I'm talking about it here. I'm not quite sure what she's saying, why she's saying this. All I know is that she doesn't understand the crypto space, and I say this with all due respect. I just don't think it is what she does. She's responding to a movement in price that I understand, which has it's been very rapid. I think of 5-fold since the end of the third quarter. That's pretty extreme, so I can understand her saying that. Basically, Janet Yellen just said it's not energy efficient, and it's used for crime, which we've already looked at, and there's nothing there. Crime, terrorism, it's all scams. People getting scammed. All right, so this is the response from Kathy Wood. Very good detail if you want to check that out in more detail. Another big piece, crypto giant Grayscale, exploring nearly 24 altcoins. Here's a look at their list. Looks good. We've talked about Yearn Finance, big holder of that. Uniswap, big holder of that. The Graph, holder of that. Tezos, we just talked about that. Synthetics, I'm not a holder, but I do like the project, and I'm waiting for a better entry point. SushiSwap, I've got Uniswap, so I'm not that fussed on Sushi. Probably you can make some money from it, but from what I understand, it's just a cut and copy paste of the white paper. Stacks Reserve Rights is a big one that you guys come up with a lot. Polkadot, we've talked about. So there's a lot of good news here. Cosmos, Chainlink, Cardano, which I'll have another video coming up on that too. And of course, Aave. So looks like there's a bit of demand for all of these other cryptocurrencies coming in. I know it's not specifically Bitcoin or Ethereum news, but that is the broader market news. It makes a lot of sense. A few more pieces to go. This one, pay attention to this. Bitcoin balance sheet, 42 companies hold 1.3 million Bitcoin, worth more than 65 billion. All right, so here's the companies down here. We've got MicroStrategies leading the race at the top. They have 90,000 Bitcoin, 90,800. Tesla, 48,000. Galaxy, 16,000, and so on. I don't need to read them all out to you here. One interesting one, Mt. Gox still has 141,686 Bitcoin, and Block One, which is the EOS company there, 140,000. One other one I want to mention here is the Tezos Foundation. They have 24,800 Bitcoin with a value of 1.2 trillion. Now, let's move across back to the coin market cap. They have just in their Their reserves, well, this is the Tezos Foundation. I know maybe it's not exactly the same as the coin holdings. However, they have the money to be able to be used. So Tezos is at 2.76, call it 2.8. 1.2 trillion of that could be accounted for with their Bitcoin holdings alone. So if Bitcoin goes up, then Tezos has to. They own Bitcoin. I rarely hear that being talked about, and that was one of the points that I came up with when I was buying EOS back in 2017. They had a market cap of like 200 million when I was buying this, but they had about 2 billion or $1 billion worth of Bitcoin in their possession because they just did their ICO. So really the company should have been worth at least that, because they could have just sold off all those assets and been worth that easily. So that was an easy 5x, but of course EOS went a hell of a lot more than that, and I was buying in at around 50 to 70 cents. Took off to 20 something dollars, so that was an easy, more than 20x. I'll have to do the numbers on it, but that was an easy gain. All right, they're the little things to pay attention to. Last couple of pieces. Goldman Sachs set to restart dealing in Bitcoin futures, also exploring Bitcoin ETF. That's what we've been waiting for, a Bitcoin ETF. So they are going to start trading again. Let's see what happens with their Bitcoin ETF. That's about all that we need to know in this article. Fidelity Global Macro Director says Bitcoin has evolved to become digital gold. So now we've got the big players, big banks even considering this, which is why I think maybe we still are in the innovators, potentially crossing over into early adopters. And once we see that, then we'll see that massive spike into the multi-trillion-dollar market caps for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary, if you haven't heard it by now, Kevin O'Leary's been buying some cryptocurrency, has about 3%, and hedge fund manager Danielle Loeb does deep dive into crypto, so also considering buying some cryptocurrency. Twitter raising 1.25 billion in convertible notes, not confirmed, but many believe they're going to use it to buy Bitcoin more and more. So it's good to hear this at these lows, and just keep an eye on the 50% level to make sure that it holds good areas to be dollar cost averaging in, not financial advice. Bitcoin shoots 7%, so we've gone up today, we've seen that, but just because it goes up 7% doesn't mean the trend is over. Still need to be careful. MicroStrategy buys another 15 million. Last piece, this is great. CBOE applies to list first Bitcoin ETF in the US. So now we have two companies looking to do ETFs. We have CBOE, and the last piece that I just saw here was Goldman Sachs planning to do Bitcoin ETF. All fantastic news, guys. So I'll leave you with that. A little look at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. Crypto news, I like that as real news, not just little bits here and there. It's like a lot of big money positioning themselves during this first stage of the bull market cycle. I like the look of dollar cost averaging in at this point. So to answer the question, is now too late? If it was me starting again now, I definitely don't think it's too late after we've just seen a nice correction and a nice reset. If I want to play it safe, you know my drill. Ethereum, Bitcoin. That's the way I play it safe with my retirement fund, which you can check out on my Instagram. Head over to that. Link is down below. I post there daily with my retirement fund update and do cryptocurrency, investing, real estate, a little bit of fitness, Q&A. So you can go over there and ask me anything, and I'll get back to you on my Instagram. Be sure to follow so you can see it on the Instagram stories. That does me for this video. Like the video if you haven't already. Let us get to 2,000 likes. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you want to see more of the style of cryptocurrency reporting that I do and how I do my charts. And of course, Investor Accelerator course is down below. If you subscribe to the newsletter, you get 15% off. So make sure you get that discount through on your email, and you can use that coupon code to join us for the 12-month membership to learn how to swing trade for your investments. All right, guys, that's today's video. I hope that gives you a little bit more understanding of where I see the markets and the position we're in, what opportunities we have, Ethereum, Bitcoin. Stick around on the channel. We've got Cardano and plenty other altcoins coming up. I've got a few videos at the end of this, so click on those. Exit strategies and crypto wallets, all good stuff. So I'll catch you guys at the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more done.